The blindfold, symbol of obedience, judgment, and sensory control. Welcome back to the Symbolism series. I'm Adeline, 11-time published author. In this video, we're decoding a symbol that appears across myth, law, ritual, and performance, the blindfold. It seems simple, a cloth over the eyes. But in symbolic systems, the blindfold is never just about darkness. It's about perception. It's about submission. It's about who gets to see and who is told not to. Whether worn by a statue, a performer, or a ritual subject, the blindfold always signals that a person's sight, and therefore their power, has been redirected, denied, or surrendered. Let's begin with how the blindfold appears in ancient symbolism. One of the most familiar figures is Lady Justice. She's often depicted holding scales in one hand and a sword in the other, while blindfolded. We're told this symbolizes impartiality, the idea that justice sees no bias. But let's pause for a moment. Why is the symbol of justice depicted with no sight at all? In truth, the blindfold doesn't just represent fairness. It represents submission to external authority. The figure must weigh and strike, but cannot see. It implies that decisions are based not on personal perception, but on rule. The sword may be hers, but the vision belongs to the system. In many initiation rituals, blindfolds are used as a test. The initiate is led through dark rooms, across thresholds, sometimes up staircases or into ceremonial chambers, blindfolded. They are told to trust the process, to surrender control. In Masonic and occult orders, this is a key symbolic moment. The blindfold signals obedience. You are no longer navigating with your own senses. You are following. This isn't about darkness. It's about training the initiate to submit, to be led, to obey silently. This same pattern shows up in performance symbolism. You'll see music videos, red carpet fashion, or stage performances where the performer wears a veil, a blindfold, or dark sunglasses in dark settings. Sometimes the eyes are covered in lace, bandages, or sheer fabric. Other times, the performer stumbles, sways, or is led by hand. The message is clear. This one does not see. But it's deeper than that. Symbolically, this performer has been muted at the sensory level. The eyes, our primary tool for discernment, are deliberately sealed, and the audience is watching it happen, clapping for the aesthetic, unaware that they are witnessing symbolic submission. In psychological terms, the blindfold is also used in control-based rituals. The moment you lose your vision, your awareness becomes vulnerable. You can no longer rely on your senses to verify your surroundings. Your mind becomes more suggestible. You're more likely to accept instructions, believe what you're told, or surrender to suggestion. That's why blindfolds are used in trust games, in behavior experiments, and in interrogation tactics. They break the subject's confidence in their own perception. In ritual abuse or trauma-based programming theories, blindfolds are often used in the early stages of conditioning, not just for physical disorientation, but to split the subject's trust. If you're blindfolded during a trauma, the mind learns not to look. It learns that seeing is dangerous. And over time, this can result in emotional blindness, where you stop trusting your instincts, your memories, or your intuitive sight. This is symbolic blindness embedded at the soul level. Now look at how blindfolds appear in mainstream narratives. Think of horror films, spiritual thrillers, or high-fashion editorials. The person in the blindfold is often portrayed as fragile, possessed, or ascending. The message is mixed. Sometimes they are a victim. Sometimes they are transcending the need to see. But either way, they are disconnected from visual clarity. That's not just visual metaphor. It's a symbolic rehearsal for how society treats perception. You're not meant to look. You're meant to feel your way through and accept the script you've been given. Let's talk about veils, which function as softer blindfolds. The bridal veil, the ceremonial veil, the religious face covering. Each of these represents some form of sensory restriction. Veils obscure identity. They block full recognition. They signal purity, mystery, or obedience depending on the context. In ritual terms, a veiled person is often in transition. They are between states, hidden from public sight, until they are revealed by a higher authority. Whether it's a wedding ceremony or a coming-of-age ritual, the veil signals that this person is not fully sovereign yet. Someone else determines when the veil is lifted. Even sunglasses, when used in symbolic performance settings, can function as blindfolds. Oversized lenses, completely opaque shades, or visors that block the upper face. These all mask the eyes. In spiritual terms, the eyes are the windows to the soul. To cover them is to conceal truth. In ritual fashion, this often signals the presence of programming, secrecy, or disconnection. The eyes have been sealed. The soul may or may not be home. In political ritual, blindfolds sometimes appear on statues, murals, or protest art. They represent forced ignorance. A blindfolded citizen symbolizes a person who is being lied to, or who has stopped looking for themselves. In this way, the blindfold becomes a warning that when you surrender your sight, you surrender your sovereignty. You begin to live by secondhand truth. So how do you reclaim the symbolism of sight? You start by asking, what am I being told not to look at? What am I being led through without question? Where have I been symbolically blindfolded? by media, by groupthink, by ritual repetition, and accepted it as normal. Reclaiming your sight doesn't mean resisting all guidance. It means becoming aware of when your perception is being restricted. It means taking the veil off, not just from your eyes, but from your mind. Because spiritual sight is not about light hitting your eyes. It's about truth reaching your awareness. There's a reason the blindfold is used in so many symbolic systems. Because whoever controls sight, controls belief. Whoever limits what you see, shapes what you accept. And the person wearing the blindfold isn't always the only one affected. Sometimes it's the whole audience. You weren't born blind. You were trained to close your eyes. But training can be reversed. You can choose to see again. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas. 11 times published author and School of Soul has just released one of our most requested deep dives, the Magic and Occult series. This series is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who know there's more going on beneath the surface, behind the media, behind the family, behind the system. This series breaks the spell and hands you the map. The Magic and Occult series includes over 200 videos on 1. Entertainment or ritual. Decoding mainstream media as mass spellwork. 2. Occult families. Spot them. How generational magic and ritual lineage hides in plain sight. 3. Occult symbolism. The signs, seals, and signals used to claim, curse, or command. 4. Esoteric symbolism. Layered meaning, sacred geometry, and encoded messages. 5. Law is magic. How contracts, courts, and language are rituals of power. 6. Spells and spirits. What magic really is, and what happens when you use it. 7. Covens and lodges. Where modern ritual happens, and who's involved. 8. Destiny swapping. How rituals steal timelines, talent, or soul contracts. 9. Energy harvesting. Spiritual parasitism, and how to seal your field. 10. The clairs. Your intuitive senses. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and more. 11. Become magical. How to strengthen your gifts, protect your mind, and wield conscious force. 12. Miracles are real, divine intervention, faith portals, and supernatural reversals. 13. The chosen ones. What sets them apart and why they're always targeted. 14. The black sheep, the generational breaker, often isolated by design. 15. Targeted individuals, spiritual and technological targeting of aware souls. 16. Gang stalking, organized spiritual and psychological warfare. This is the most revealing, most spiritually advanced, and most protective series SOS has ever released. If you've ever felt something was off about this world, this will confirm it and prepare you for what comes next. Your protection begins with knowledge. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault.